I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. And one of the things that I think Trump has to consider politically, and not that the Constitution will bar anybody from doing anything right now. That's not where we live. We don't live by the Constitution or the Bible anymore. Well, I live by the Bible and I honor the Constitution, but nobody else does. Well, nobody else means anyway. But one of the things that Trump is going to have to consider is whether or not he wants to announce after the midterm that he's running for president, because Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jim Jordan and a bunch of others want to have them reinstated. And the Supreme Court has no power now that the Congress will respect. So if Trump says, I'm running for president, that might prevent in a logical way to the MAGA crowd, if you're running for president, then why would we reinstate you? The argument that Trump may have to make is this, is that the election was stolen, and I don't believe the election was stolen. I don't believe that. I don't. I think a lot of things have been stolen. I think people steal property. I think people lie. I think they cheat. I think the oil companies and all the food manufacturing companies right now are jacking up their prices and stealing money out of both pockets, with both hands out of your pocket. I think people steal a lot of things, but I don't think that the election was stolen. And if I did, I wouldn't say it, because I think it would put Trump in a very poor light to let people think somebody like Joe Biden was able to steal something from him. That don't make no sense. The con man of con men got run over by Joe Biden. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. So here's what I want to say. Here's my take. If I was advising Trump, here's what I'd tell him. Don't announce you're running. Let me back up. If Kevin McCarthy becomes the Speaker of the House, first of all, Trump, don't trust him. The man is as slick as a North Carolina eel in a swamp. That boy is slicker than slick. Kevin McCarthy, don't trust him. He's been doing everything possible to become Speaker of the House. Once he gets that power, you're going to have to depend on Marjorie Taylor Greene. You have to depend on Jordan and the others and a bunch of other people. You have to depend on them to keep that boy in line. But he ain't on your side, Trump. I'm telling you right now, Kevin McCarthy ain't on your side, Trump. That boy feels that you've humiliated him. But he wants to be Speaker. He wants that power. He wants that private airplane. He wants all that security. He wants all that. He wants that power. He wants it. And so he did a whole lot of brown nosing to get there. But don't trust him. However, that being said, Marjorie Taylor Greene will keep him in line. Now, I'm not here because I'm favoring Trump. I'm just being a quintessential, if you will, giving you a read of the times. That's all I'm doing, man. I ain't here trying to promote about it. But I would advise Trump to do this. This is what I would advise him to do. And I would advise his advisor to tell him to do this. Not that Trump listens to anybody. Don't announce you're running. Announce that you want the House to reinstate you, right? You want the House to reinstate you, and if you get the Senate, it's a done deal. If Trump, you have never seen, this is a triple threat of triple threats of triple threats of triple set threats times 7. It has never been, in best I can understand political history, that one has controlled the House and the Senate and the Supreme Court in such a powerful way. All three of those entities would be controlled by Trump. So I would advise him, don't announce that you're going to run. Announce you want to be reinstated. Now here, I'm not being un-American, I'm not being anti-constitutional. All you liberals and all you Democrats and all you communists and socialists and everybody else come say Pastor Manny is on Trump's team. He's back on Trump. I am not. I wouldn't get on it. A wise thing I think Trump did is not go back to Twitter. I would never go back to that vomit, if you ask me. That's how I put it. You don't like it, you don't have to like it. You can always turn me off, You can always do that. Click, and I'm gone. But if you're still listening, if you're still there, let me keep talking. I'd advise him, listen, man, make Kevin McCarthy earn his due. reinstate you. That's right. And I think that, let me just move this, if you don't mind, excuse me. I think that, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, the liberals, and all that other crowd, the squad, none of them will be in any position to stop the reinstatement. At that point, on November 9th, if Trump follows my counsel, but now first it's predicated upon them taking the House. They may not take the House. It's highly unlikely they will not, that they'll miss this opportunity to take the House. It's highly unlikely, but it's possible. It's possible. If they can't take the House, then the appropriate thing for Trump to do is to announce immediately that he's running. Immediately that he's running. And so these are the options, and you get the idea. I think everybody's in agreement, and not that I'm favoring one above the other. I don't have a dog in this fight. I really don't. But if they take the House, and if they take the Senate, you're going to see a reinstatement of Trump. But it will not take place without bloodshed. And maybe not as much bloodshed as one would think, because I'm not sure all the people on the left have the courage to actually fight for what they believe. I'm not sure that they do. I'm not sure you can get the Democrats and the liberals to march on Capitol Hill the way the MAGA people march. I'm not sure that they're cut from the same ilk or the same cloth. Okay, so you get the idea. There's a couple of things, and I promise not to inflict myself upon you any further, but you got my advice. I would advise Trump, if they take the House, don't announce you're running, announce you're being reinstated, number one. Number two, I think it's important for us to realize that there's a whole lot of stuff going on in America right now that makes you think that race and racism is an issue. Can I just share this with you? Listen, racism is not a problem in America. It ain't a problem. Hamite people that is to say black people, are a minority just a cut above the Jews in terms of their numbers. Their economics, their financial standings, their investments, they don't have any money. The Hispanics got more power, more money, and they're adding to their routes, to their numbers every day with the immigration process. There is no racism problem in America. The only racism problem in America is in the mind of the black man. He's the one that's got the problem. Ain't nobody else got it. Everybody else is living good. Everybody else. And then when he runs up on somebody, the Japheth or the Jewish man, and tries to demand something from him, he gets slapped all the way back into the middle of the Middle Ages. And if his son runs out there, the police go shoot him down. And then he's crazy enough to shoot himself. There ain't no racism. The only race problem in America is black folk. They're the one with the problem. Ain't nobody else got the problem. Racism is just among black folk. And they kill each other because they're racist towards one another. That rapper Takeoff just got killed down there somewhere in Texas, I think, or Atlanta, in Texas the other day. Listen, all this problem about racism and black people and Black Lives Matter, that is a crock of a crock. There ain't no racism problem. The only people got a racism problem is black people. Everybody else is doing okay. Even left and right, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, or whether you're liberal or conservative, if you're Japheth or Shemite, you ain't got no racist problem. You ain't got no problem. The only problem is black folk. Now, this anti-Semitism is something altogether different. That's a money thing. That's the thing about money. Anti-Semitism is all about money. So it's about who got the money and who ain't got it. And who got the money, everybody else, money talks and everybody else walks. So that's not racism either. Well, that's not racism. This anti-Semitism, all this thing Kanye is talking about, and some of these other boys running around here with these Nazi, if you will, stickers, it ain't about racism. It's about the money. That's what it's about. Who got it and who want it. So here's this all you see on television get pushed out there. All the liberal media is pretty how racist, white folk are racist, black folk are underprivileged and undertreated and underserved and all that. And, and then, you got the Fox, Rupert Murdoch group out there talking about, anti-Semitism and a bunch of other liberal ideas. But you think that you never hear either one of them talk about, you never heard either one of them mention or demonstrate in any way or run any program more than 2 seconds that they are anti-LGBTQ. Nobody goes down that road. And don't nobody go down that road. You know why? Because LGBTQ is in all of their bedrooms. I don't care whether they're liberal or conservative, whether they're Republican or whether they're Democrats, whether they're black or whether they're white or whether they're Jewish or whether that LGBTQ is in their bedrooms and they know it. So they're not about that. So let's be clear about what we're clear about. Number one, there ain't no racism. Only racism problem in America is in the mind of the black man because everybody else is doing their own thing. He's wrong, still talking about slavery, still talking about racism. All right. And this civil war that we now have in the modern era, where I'm suggesting to Trump, where I'm advising him. He's not going to ask me for advice. Well, you never know. I would say, don't announce you're running, announce you're being reinstated. All right? That's the first thing. And then the other thing, of course, is that there is no racism in America and all this talk about it. And then what they do is that people with money pull out some of the people in the black community that can talk good, that looks pleasant, and they know how to hold a spoon and a fork and put a napkin on their lap when they go out to dinner. Well, let's get this one over here, make him the mayor of the city. Who wants to be the mayor of Houston? Who wants to have to be on call 24 hours a day about where the garbage is being picked up? Who wants to be on call 24 hours a day in a city like Houston or Chicago where they got all these shootings? You can't even get drunk at night. You can't even go out and have a party. You can't even have an orgy. Because you got to be on call. Who wants that? Give it to one of them black people. Let them do that. We'll just sit back and collect all the money and the power. That's all about. In the old days, they used to call it the house Negro. He had to stay up all night watching the boss's house. Malcolm said, the house is burning down. The house Negro said, boss, our house is burning down. So... So you see all these mayors, they even give me the president. You want to be president? They'll make you president. Yeah. Finally, they're going to get one. They never had a black president. They're going to get one pretty soon. So this racism is all in somebody's mind. It's all in black people's mind. And they keep it on television, keep making movies. How much money you need to make a new movie about Emmett Till? $75 million, you sure that will do? Well, I want you to make it a good movie. Here's $100 million. Now make a good movie, and I want you to get them black people angry all over again so they'll go out and they'll vote for Joe Biden. Bring it out just before the November midterms and put it in all the theaters and then give some money to all the black people so they can go to the movie and get mad and they get out and vote. That is the best, get out and vote. Forget about this souls to the polls or going to the churches, picking up people, souls to the polls. From the people don't even go to church anymore, but they will go to the movie. And they will go see Emmett Till. And they see that, they're going to vote. Rrr. I wasn't going for all the young people. The polling place is going to be so crowded with young people, young black people. My God, you won't even be able to get anywhere near. Because, you think there's a concert going on and say, hey, well, who's over there? Who's at that concert over there? Is it Beyonce, Rihanna, somebody? No, there ain't no concert, man. That's the polling. That's where people are voting. All these young people going to vote. Yeah. They saw that movie, Emmett Till. Got them all stirred up. The man planned it. And you got me here to explain it to you. So, there ain't no racism, man. I keep trying all this stuff about racism. Let me tell you something. David Dinkins, he probably for $125,000 a year just said, heck with Harlem, I don't care. Columbia University. Al Sharpton took $800,000 and turned all this billion-dollar housing over to the Japheth people. No racism. It's only racism in the mind of black people. And, the CNN is a big promoter of it. And the movie industry and the rap industry is very good at promoting it. But, it doesn't really exist. No, it doesn't. No, I don't. And I'm recapping now, so I'm repeating myself. I don't mind repeating myself. The other thing is there's this thing between the right the conservatives and the Jewish people, it ain't about racism. That's not racism either, because if a Jewish man walk in the room and a white man walk in the room, how you gonna tell which one is which? It's about who's got the money. That's what that's all about. And who's got the control, who's controlling the power, who's calling the shots. That's all. So I think it's important. So that's the first thing we need to, it's not about. The other thing is that it's about being a Democrat. Am I talking too long? Y'all want me to stop? Can I go a little bit further? If I promise not to inflict myself upon you any further, would you give me 2 more minutes? No, wait a minute, I need 5 more minutes. Would you give me 5? What about 7? All right. It isn't about being a Republican either, or a Democrat. That's just a label. That's just a dress they put on, a suit they put on. They're politicians. A politician is a politician. Now they choose sides. That I'm going to be on this side. I choose. My grandfather was a Republican, so I'm going to be one too. President Ronald Reagan, he was a Republican. I think he was a liberal. I think he was a Democrat first, changed to being a Republican. And then when they had a son named Ron, a younger boy, he became a liberal. Dyed in the wool, flaming liberal, that guy, Ronald Reagan's son, that boy Ron Reagan. They also said he's an atheist or something like that. He don't believe in God. It's another thing. But it's not about whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, who's going to be in power, who's not going to be in power. However, I do want to say that if the Democrats lose the House, which I think they're going to do, that then we're going to see a modern day civil war. Well, there will be bloodshed, but not much. And let me not say not much. And I'm predicating that on the fact that the liberals, they don't like the gun thing. But my advice would be to Trump is not to run. Announce that he wants to be reinstated. And again, all the people that have, even people like, Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz and all that crowd, will be on board to get it. And Mitch McConnell, who don't like Trump, and Trump called his wife Coco Chow or something. She's an Asian, right? Mitch McConnell's wife. She was head of some transportation or something in Trump's administration. So it's not about, what it's about? It isn't even about the economy, stupid. It isn't. I know that inflation is, but here's the thing with the economy. The oil manufacturers, the food price people, they're jacking up their prices. Everybody said, well, prices are high. When the guy said, well, I'm selling a bag of Oreo cookies for $1.39, everybody said the price is high. The president said the price is high. Speaker of the House said price is high. Wall Street said that prices are high. Warren Buffett says that prices are high. All the prognosticated economists saying price. Well, why am I selling my bag of Oreos for $1.39? Why don't I jack it up to $1.89? And the mama goes in the store. Boy wants some Oreos, come home with. She sees the price. It went up last week from $1.39 to $1.59. Well, I got to bite the bullet because my boy wants these Oreos. And that's with the meat, the hamburger, and everything. The price don't have to be as high. They're jacking up the interest rates. They've gone from 2% to 8% in a matter of a month. So the banks can get more money. This may not work the way they think it's going to work, but it's not about the economy. It's about the thieves. If you're talking about the economy, these people are thieves. That's why God bless the child has got his own. These people are thieves. They're stealing money. They are stealing money. And, the banks could be jacking up the prices. Now, this is not anti-Semitic. Don't you be running out there telling nobody I said that. What you do is tell this. The inflation and the jacking up of the interest rates could have to do with the fact that, the Jewish people, the Shemite people, they have a lot of banking skills, a lot of banking ownership. And they may be sticking it too. Johnny Reb, with high prices to buy that F-150, can't get a loan to expand his business. They could be using, economic jackups to shut him down. You won't be able to have money to pay a hotel bill. Won't be able to buy any AR-15s anymore because you ain't got the money. The price is too high. Can't even buy an AR-15 for my son's 15th birthday. So the Shemite brothers know how to do that. I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but they're doing something. Somebody getting a whole lot of money. So we're in what I'm referring to as a modern civil war in a period of the social media, which also they didn't have Abraham Lincoln. I don't know if they had a good typewriter in the White House, let alone all these computers that they got now, which makes the battle even more intense. But I want to say this, and though I have used a humorous spirit here today, I'm very serious. And everything I've said to you is the absolute truth. It's a truth that you've not heard. And it's a truth that is very risky for me to say, very risky. But I thought that you were worth knowing this. And so I said it anyway. The man called me the other day and told me there's a target on my back that they're going to get me. Either they're going to hit me with so many lawsuits that I won't have money to afford the lawyers, or they're going to get a doctor to inject me with something and cause me to be mentally unstable, try to take away my dignity. What he did say is that they're not going to put me in jail. I thought that was interesting, that doesn't profit them anything. And if they did, I'd turn the jails out. I'd turn the jails into churches if that's what they did, the prisons. But he said there's a target on my back and that they don't like the fact that I preach the Bible and the Old Testament in particular. I'll say this, and I pray that everyone will understand my heart. I don't know if the Shemites are concerned that I'm telling the Hamites that they need to read the Old Testament. I don't know that to be true, but I'm raising some hypotheses here today, and I'm going to let y'all go. I've used up my 7 minutes, and I know it, and I thank you for your very generous spirit. But I'm teaching the truth about the Old Testament. And the Shemites have become dominant in world economics because of that Old Testament. That's how come they become so powerful, because of that, not the New Testament, it's that Old Testament that has made them dominant in economics globally, everywhere, even over every type of government, whether it be autocrat, Democrat, a totalitarian, a dictator, don't matter. They got the money. And I'm not saying this in a facetious, anti-Semitic way. I'm a Zionist. By that I mean, I believe Jesus was a Jew. I've been to Israel. And I've kissed the ground. I believe all that land was given to the Jews. I'm a Zionist. I'm not an anti-Semite. No, I'm not. I used to have a lot of Jewish friends. I don't know what happened to them. But I can tell you this. I can tell you this, that the issue here is that I'm teaching Hamite people that they can be just as powerful economically if they'll let me teach them the Old Testament. That's a threat to the Shemite nation. That's a threat to their economic power, because they know if they grab hold of this word of God, ATLAH and the law, and me as their teacher, they know, the Jewish people know, and I'm not an anti-Semite, I love my Jewish brothers, but they know if I can open up the minds and the woolly heads of the Hamite, that's the black man, and teach them the Old Testament, they're going to have power, money power. And the Japheth too, because I got a lot of Japheth people as members of ATLAH. I can bring along the Japheth and the Hamites into the power of the Old Testament. The man said they're going to try to take me down. They're going to try to get a doctor to inject me with something, or call me to be mentally unstable, inject me with 500 cc's of insulin dose so that I become a vegetable. I won't know my name, my address, or what day of the week it is. He said they. You heard him say it. I'm not being anti-Semitic. I'm not being racist, because it ain't about race. It's about the money. In the Old Testament, there's money in the Old Testament. There's money in the Old Testament. There's property, there's land, there's development, there's ownership. In the Old Testament, there's money in that Old Testament. There's money in that Old Testament. God knows there's plenty of money in that Old Testament. There's money in that Sabbath. There's money in that first fruit. There's money in that tithe. There's money in the Old Testament. There's money. There's money. And people running around and talking about, we don't need the Old Testament no more. The Lord going to pray that we prosper and be in health. No. So I don't know that that's what's happening to me. But I want you to digest these things I've said because they're all true. And I've told them to you so we can learn how to protect ourselves. I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant.